जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल गौर हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरि वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादि पश्चातदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं, यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यम् ईश्वरं। हरिः ओम् तत्सत्। हरे कृष्ण। Are you able to see my screen, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, we can.
Yes, Prabhuji.
My audio is also okay?
Perfect.
Yes, it's clear.
All right, Prabhu. Great. हरे कृष्णा। जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। So we're going to be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, verse number 36, and hopefully 37. 36 itself is a very large verse. We'll try and see whatever justice that we can do and try and study, read Srila Prabhupada's purport. एतावद्येव जिज्ञास्यं तत्त्वजिज्ञासुनात्मनः अन्वयव्यतिरेकाभ्यां यत् स्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा। एतावद्येव जिज्ञाक्ष्यं तत्त्वजिज्ञासुनात्मनः अन्वयव्यतिरेकाभ्यां यत् स्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा। एतावद्येव जिज्ञास्यं तत्त्वजिज्ञासुनात्मनः अन्वयव्यतिरेकाभ्यां यत् स्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा। Does anyone want to read?
I'll read the translation.
The
Sure.
verse you mean, right? Or translation, Prabhu?
Verse and word to word.
Okay. Verse I'll read. एतावदेव जिज्ञासं तत्त्वजिज्ञासुनात्मनः अन्वयव्यतिरेकाभ्यां यत् स्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा. Uday Prabhu, you can read the translation.
Translation.
The word to
Translation.
word.
Yeah. Translation.
Word.
Word to word.
Yeah, the word to word synonyms.
Yatvata. Up to this. Yava. Certainly. Jignasyam. Is to be inquired. Tattva. The absolute truth. Jignasana. By the student. Atmana. Of the self. Anvaya. Directly. Vyatri. Yatrikaya bhayam.
Vyatirekabhyam.
Vyatirekabhyam. Indirectly. Yat. Whatever. Syat. It may be. Sarvatra. In all space and time. Sarvada. In all circumstances. Translation. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. A person who is searching after the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, must certainly search for it up to this in all circumstances, in all space and time, and both directly and indirectly. Purport. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. To unfold the mystery of Bhakti Yoga as it is explained in the previous verse, in the ultimate stage of all inquiries, or the highest objective for the inquisitor, everyone is searching after self-realization in different ways, by karma yoga, by jnana yoga, by dhanya yoga, by raja yoga, by bhakti yoga, etc. To engage in self-realization is the responsibility of every living entity developed in consciousness. One who is developed in consciousness certainly makes inquiries into the mystery of the self, of the cosmic situation, and of the problems of life in all spheres and fields: social, political, economic, cultural, religious, moral, etc. And in their different branches, But here, the goal of all such inquiries is explained.
Okay, Prabhu.
Thanks.
So it's a very long purport. So we'll cover it paragraph by paragraph so that we can try and move forward like that. Okay, but we will read it together. I will allow the next paragraph to read by someone else, and then we'll accordingly move on. Yeah. एतावद्देव जिज्ञाक्ष्यं तत्त्वजिज्ञासूनात्मनः यन्वय व्यतिरेकाभ्यां यत् स्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा. A person who is searching after the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, must certainly search for it up to this in all circumstances, in all space and at all time, and both directly and indirectly. So this is the continuation of the most important verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Chatusloki Bhagavat, which we have been seeing so far. And this is the last of these 4 verses that we are seeing here. And let's just go very quickly to those verses. Okay, we have it here. Verse number 33, Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself, nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead, and after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. Now, in this particular verse, which is the beginning of the Chatusloki, first of all, we have to understand who's the Lord addressing. The Lord is addressing, and those of you, if you can be on video, it will be nice to have a more personal Srimad Bhagavatam, right? If it is possible that if you can be on video, that will be good. So, Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead. So here we can see that this whole conversation is happening between the Supreme Lord and Lord Brahma, who is the creator of this. Who is the Supreme Lord? The Supreme Lord is the original creator, and Lord Brahma is the secondary creator. And to him, the Supreme Lord is addressing, saying that it is I who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself, which means he is the source of everything. Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the beginning of everything. There was no beginning before. Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. In the Brahma Samhita, Brahma repeats this whole understanding, saying that he is the Sarva Karana Karanam. And then he says, nor was there the material nature, which means that there was, you were also not there. Indirectly, he is saying, Lord Brahma was also not there. The entire material creation was not there. It is I who created them, right? And then he says, that which you see now is also I, which means the material nature is also simply my energy. He says that. And then the personality of God, and after annihilation, whatever remains will also be I. Which means wherever this material world after annihilation goes and merges into, that is also the Supreme Lord. Which means the one and one person who's always there, who's the original person, and in the creation and after the creation that exists, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is the point that is being established here. That's number 1. Text number 34, O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. The next point that he is making is that now whatever is created in this material world, of course, the spiritual world is also created by the Supreme Lord, but in this particular instant, the Lord is explaining about the creation of the material world. Because Lord Brahma is the one who is in charge of this material, particular Brahmanda. And there are so many Brahmandas, and for each Brahmanda, there is a Brahma. So he is explaining about the material world. So what does he say? Oh Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, which means there are the Mayavadis who reject this material world saying that this is Mithya or it is false. This material world is false. There is nothing, there is no reality or there is no value in this. That is what they think. And Srila Prabhupada also quotes in the purport saying that the Mayavadis construe this whole Chatusloki Bhagavat in a different way because there are some indirect mentions. That's why in the verse that we are seeing today, both directly and indirectly, Krishna says. Anyway, coming back here, it says that whatever appears to be of any value, which means if you look at anything independent of the Supreme Lord, then you cannot see any value in it. But if you see things in relationship to the Lord, for example, I have this camera in front of me. When I'm using this camera, I can reject this camera saying that this is material, this is Maya. But I can also see that, oh, this is now being used in the delivery of Srimad Bhagavatam. In that sense, it is not Maya. So there is some relationship to Krishna. Like that, Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Uchyate. Srila Rupa Goswami says, things that apparently look like they do not have any relationship to Krishna, but if you can find the relationship to Krishna and engage it in Krishna's service, then you can see value. And so here he says, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relationship to me, then it has no reality. Then it is Maya. But when you see it in relationship to him, then you can see value in it, that the Supreme Lord is connected in everything in the material. So there is nothing that we need to reject. Everything can be used in Krishna's service. Know it as my illusory energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness, which means things that do not, where you do not see relationship to the Supreme Lord are Maya. But if it is the same thing, if you can see relationship with Krishna, then that is not Maya. Beautiful, isn't it? The same food is being cooked in the kitchen. When it is cooked for Krishna and offered to Krishna and comes out after the offering, then it becomes prasad. If it is not offered to Krishna, which means no relationship to Krishna, directly from the kitchen to the dining table, then that is Maya. Simple understanding, right? So we have to find relationship to Krishna for everything that we have. When we do that, then that is called as Krishna consciousness. That is being conscious of Krishna in everything and every activity and every object that we relate with. That is Krishna consciousness. Okay. Moving on to the next verse. Text number 35. O Brahma, please know that the universal elements enter into the cosmos and at the same time do not enter into the cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created and at the same time I am outside of everything. Now, the third point that Krishna is making or the Supreme Lord is making is that this material world is created through the energy of the Supreme Lord and the material world comes into existence. Similarly, the Lord also enters into this material world. But we should not understand that simply because the Lord is entering into this material world that he also has become material like us. We came to the material world because of being contaminated. Correct? Do we understand that? We came to this material world because we have contamination. We wanted to enjoy things for our own pleasure. And so we came under the control of the three modes of material nature. Sattva, Raja and Tama. That is called contamination. In a similar way, the Supreme Lord also comes here when he is creating it through the various Purusha avatars such as Karanodakashaya Vishnu, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu and Shirodakashaya Vishnu. And then he also enters as the Paramatma in everyone's heart. And then he also makes his advent as various avatars, as the Purusha avatars, as the Leela avatars, as the Yuga avatars, as the Manvantra avatars, and so on and so forth. he also enters. So is his entrance into this material world is also like our entrance? No. When we enter yantra arudhani maya, we are forced into a particular body which is like an yantra. Hrideshu Arjuna Tishtati Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani Yantra Arudhani Maya, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. That when we come into this material world, it is by force. We do not have a choice that I want to be born only of Ambani. You cannot make a choice, right? So that I can be so wealthy. Or you cannot say, I want to be I want to be born as the son of so and so. There's no choice. You cannot choose your mother, you cannot choose your father. But whereas Krishna can choose his mother and father. Krishna chose his mother and father, that he will be born of Devaki and Vasudeva or Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. What to speak of that? He is so independent, he is Swarat. Srimad Bhagavatam right in the beginning says that Avijñā Swarat, he is completely cognizant and he is completely independent. Swarat. What does it mean? It means that he chose Vasudeva and Krishna as father and mother, Vasudeva and Devaki as father and mother, right? He is so independent, he does not even need a form. Like he chose a pillar to be the father when he came as Nrsimhadev. That is the independence of Krishna or the Supreme Lord. Or he can simply come from the nose of Brahma as Varaha. So that is the independent nature of the Supreme Lord. And even in the form that he takes, he can choose to become the form of Varaha and he is still the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He can come in the form of Nrsimhadev, or he can come in the form of Ananta, or he can come in the form of hearts, or he can come in the form of a fish. In all situations, he remains always the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is what is being conveyed here in this particular verse, where he says, please know that the universal elements enter into the cosmos and at the same time do not enter into the cosmos. His body also seems like it is the universal elements. But when he enters, it looks like he is entering, but at the same time he is not entering. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created, and at the same time, I am outside of everything, which means he is untouched by all of these material elements. Usually, if somebody comes in contact with the material elements, they are affected by the material elements, just like how we are. But he is not affected by the material elements. And that is what Krishna concludes in the Bhagavad Gita by saying, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti. So Arjuna, he says that my janma is not like the janma of everyone else. It is divya. My activities are not like the activities of everyone else. It is divya. It is transcendental. That is the difference. So he establishes that, right? And then in today's verse, we come to the verse number 36, where he says, a person who is searching after the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, must certainly search for it up to this point. So he concludes by saying that if you are really curious about wanting to search the supreme personality of Godhead, you should come up to this point. Which point? To the point where you can understand that I am the source of everything. Everything that exists is me. Even though that everything that exists is me, I am not in them. This is Achinta Bheda Bhed Tattva. And that is the essence of what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us, our philosophy. And this comes all the way from Brahma. And that is why we are Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Okay. So this is the essence of our philosophy. And that has been given in just 4 verses by the Supreme Lord himself to Brahmaji. And that is what Srila Vyasadeva begins right in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam by saying, Janmadyasya yato anvayad itaratasya te shobhigyashvara tene brahma hridayadikavaye muyanti yat sureha tejo vari mridham yatha vinimayo yatra trishargo amrusa dhangnak svena sada nirastakohakam satyam param dhimahi. And that one personality is the Satyam Param. He is the absolute truth. So he puts the essence of all these 4 slokas into that one sloka, which is the beginning sloka of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where he conveys the same meaning. He says, Janmad yasya yato anvayad itarataha, which means Janmad asya, which means the creation takes place by me both directly and indirectly. Anvayat, same word is used here. Anvaya vyatirekabhyam, which means directly, and itarataha means vyatirekabhyam, indirectly. So both directly means by his coming as the Mahavishnu or Karanodakshaya Vishnu. Indirectly means through the enablement of Lord Brahma. Right? Like that, the Lord creates. And that is the essence. And there he says, how did indirectly he do it? By enabling Brahma. So one should not think, oh, Brahma is also almost equivalent to Krishna. No, he says, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Muyanti et Surya. That I am the one who even gave the knowledge as to how he can create. Otherwise, Brahma could not create it. Brahma Hridaya, I gave him this knowledge of Brahman. To who? Adikavaye. Adikavi means Brahma here. But do you know what is his nature, the Adikavi's nature? He says, Muyanti yat Surya. Even though he is Surya, Surya is not a demon, he is a devotee, he is greatest of the personality in this material creation that I have created. He can get bewildered, which means he is not like me, which means he is not the supreme personality of Godhead. He is also a Jiva, but the supreme Jiva. So there he differentiates it. Right? So Brahmaji is also a Jiva, but he is the topmost of the Jiva in the material creation. So that we should understand. Right? Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. I don't want to go too deep into that because that itself will occupy the class. We will not be able to, cover the purport. So let's get into the purport here by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada purports ki jai. To unfold the mystery of Bhakti Yoga as it is explained in the...
Prabhuji?
No, this one has already been read. So I'm just going to explain this first paragraph. Next paragraph you can read, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. To unfold the mystery of Bhakti Yoga, as it is explained in the previous verse, is the ultimate stage of all enquiries. So here he says that must certainly search for it up to this. What is this? That is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means what? Bhakti Yoga means to understand Bhagavan. That is Bhakti Yoga. Because the word Bhakti can apply only to Bhagavan, only to the master. If we keep on looking for who is the master, the ultimate master is Krishna. Everybody else becomes servant. That's why when Srila Prabhupada translate, even Baladev or Balaram, who expanded from Krishna, he says Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead and Balaram is the supreme personality of servitor Godhead. He is also a servant. Balaram is also Godhead, but he is also servitor Godhead. His job is only to please Krishna. So which means ultimately if you trace, there is only one master, that is Krishna. Sarva Karana Karana. And servant means you can only serve master. If everybody else is servant, who is the ultimate master? He is. So that is called bhakti. And to search for bhakti or the ultimate process is the job of every human entity. And that is why the Vedas begin by saying Atato Brahma Jignasha. Ata Ataha Brahma Jignasha. What does Ata Atha means? Atato means Ataha means that you have gotten a human body or human form of life. Ataha means thereafter. Therefore means that you have got a human form of life. Thereafter, from that point on, what you should do? Brahma Jignasha, you should inquire into this Brahman. Which Brahman? Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Muhyanti Yat Surya. He says the Brahman instruction that I gave to Brahma Adikavi. Is everybody following? Because I can't see your faces or you're not on video. So I don't know, except for Sushil Kumar Prabhu.
It is quite clear and we are able to follow.
Okay, Prabhu. So it's a very deep subject matter because this you can see from the purport itself, Srila Prabhupada gives so much, right? So here he says that you have to come to that point. What is that point? The point of Bhakti Yoga. And it is the ultimate stage of all inquiries, which means that beyond Bhakti Yoga, there is nothing else. If you come to the point of Bhakti Yoga, there is nothing more to look for. That is the ultimate process, or the highest objective for the inquisitive. We said Atato Brahma Jignasha. Jignashu means inquisitive. Right? So the inquisitiveness should end where, when you find Bhakti Yoga, it should end there, because that is the ultimate process. But we have already defined what is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means only to Bhagavan, which means Bhakti Yoga should culminate in Bhagavan and nothing else. Now, if we have to go and understand the same point, the personality of Godhead must certainly search for it up to this point, means Bhagavan can also be understood in three aspects. Vadanti tat tattva vidastatvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabhyate. That the great munis, tattva viduhu, or the greatly intelligent people, have concluded, which means there is no debate on that. What they have concluded? They have concluded that the Supreme Lord can be understood in three features. What are the three features? One is Brahman, other is Paramatma, and the third one is Bhagavan. So the point that here Srila Prabhupada is trying to make is that one should come up to the point of Bhagavan, not just stop with Brahman, or not just stop with Paramatma, but you have to come to the point of Bhagavan. And that is called Bhakti Yoga. If you are simply stopping with Brahman, it is Brahmavad. If you're just coming to Paramatma, then also there is a shortcoming there. Why? Because we are only realizing partial aspect of the Supreme Lord. But the Supreme Lord is Satchit Ananda Vigraha. If you just understand the Sat feature of the Lord, then it is Brahman. If you understand both Sat and Chit feature of the Lord, then that is Paramatma. But if you understand Sat, Chit and Ananda, all the three in its completeness, and understand that the personification of Sat, Chit and Ananda, which is the Vigraha, is Krishna, then that is complete understanding. That is understanding of Bhagavan. So one should come to that point. That is the same point that when Krishna begins Bhakti Yoga in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Mayi ashakta manaha partha yogam yunjan madasrayaha asankshayam samagram mam yata gnakshasi tatsrunu. 7.1 Bhagavad Gita. What does Krishna say? Asankshayam samagram mam. That is, you have to come to the point where after that there is no more question. Everything, all questions have been rested with the answer, which means you have found the ultimate objective of your inquiry, inquisitiveness. That is what Srila Prabhupada is saying, or the highest objective for the inquisitive. And then everyone is searching for self-realization in different ways. That is, people, there are so many people following different processes. What process? Some is doing karma yoga. Krishna is also explaining it in the Bhagavad Gita in the beginning. And some are doing jnana yoga. And some are doing dhyana yoga. Some are doing raja yoga. Some are doing bhakti yoga, etc. To engage in self-realization is the responsibility of every living entity developed in consciousness. That is, regardless of what yoga, whether it is karma, jnana, dhyana, raja or bhakti, the purpose of a living entity or a human being especially is that he has to be in yoga. Yoga means to connect. Yogam yunjan madasraya. Yoga, the word yoga means to connect with Supreme. That is what is yoga, which means if you have a human form, you have to connect with Supreme. If you don't connect with Supreme, then it is, Prabhupada translates as two-legged animal. That is, even if he has a human form and two legs, unlike the four legs of an animal, this is also an animal-like form, which is just two-legged, which means a human but living in the consciousness of an animal. Ahara nidra bhayamaitunam cha etat samanyam pashubir naranam, he says. Ahara nidra bhayamaituna. This is the four things that he is looking for. Then he is pashubi. And if Nara is also only looking at that, then how good is that? But what should he actually look for? Dharmo hi tesham adhiko. He has to look for dharma. What is that dharma? That dharma is this dharma of being inquiring the highest objective, which is bhakti yoga. That is the dharma. Yeah. So one who's developed in consciousness, which means his consciousness should develop beyond animal consciousness to real human consciousness, which means human consciousness means to seek for self-realization. Otherwise, it is not developed consciousness. Now we have to understand what is self-realization. It's already 10:40, so I don't know how much we can cover. But it's a very important subject matter. We will not rush through it. Even whatever little we can understand, we'll try and understand. And according to the Prabhu, this is up till what time, Prabhu?
11:30. Till 11:30.
11:30, Prabhuji.
Okay, so we still have about 40 minutes. We'll try and cover. Okay. So, one who is developed in consciousness, which means, first of all, we have to come out of animal consciousness to human consciousness. That is the first step. And then what we have to do, we have to make inquiry. Right? What is the inquiry that we have? We have to make into the mystery of the self, Srila Prabhupada says, which means self-realization. Mystery of the self means what? Who am I? Why did I take this body? Why am I suffering here? Where will I go after this death? Where did I come from? These questions should be there. And that is called the mysteries of the self. And when we find answer to that in completeness, that process is called the process of self-realization. Okay. So one should make inquiries into the mysteries of the self, of the cosmic situation and the problems of life in all spheres and fields, which means he has to understand it in 360 degree completely. That is called self-realization. And in the different branches, but here the goal of all such inquiries is explained. Now, don't just become engrossed in only that inquiries and trying to find out so many things, which is called Sankhya. But ultimately, all of that should lead to what? To Bhagavan or Bhakti Yoga. If it doesn't lead to in Bhakti Yoga, then all of those inquiries will simply be a long process and waste of time. What does it mean? Does it mean that we should not take up to what Sankhya yogis are doing or wrong? No, what they're doing is okay, but it is a very long prone process. But what here Srila Prabhupada says is that if you have gotten Bhakti Yoga, then you don't have to worry about all of those Sankhya, about trying to inquire into every sphere and field of life and try and understand everything. You have already gotten the objective, the ultimate objective. So just move on. Which means if you have already got bhakti, don't worry about other processes of dhyana, Raja Yoga. Why? Because the results of all of those processes you can get simply by being a bhakti yogi. So you don't need to go and independently try and understand all of the other processes of yoga.
Prabhu,
That is the point.
Prabhu, what is Raja Yoga?
Raja Yoga is also a form of, Ashtanga Yoga. Like in, you have the, Hatha Yoga. There are various processes of Ashtanga Yoga, and Raja Yoga is also one of the divisions of the yogic process.
Okay. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Who wants to read the next paragraph?
Can I read?
Yes, Prabhu.
The Vedanta Sutra philosophy begins with this inquiry about life, and the Bhagavatam answers such inquiries up to this point, or the mystery of all inquiries. Lord Brahma wanted to be perfectly educated by the personality of Godhead, and here is the answer by the Lord, finished in 4 nutshell verses from Aham Eva to this verse, Etavad Eva. This is the end of all self-realization processes. Men do not know that the ultimate goal of life is Vishnu, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, due to being bewildered by the glaring reflection in the darkness. And as such, everyone is entering into the darkest region of material existence, driven by the uncontrolled senses. The whole material existence has sprung up because of sense gratification, desires based principally on the sex desire, and the result is that, in spite of all advancement of knowledge, the final goal of all the activities of the living entities is sense gratification. But here is the real goal of life, and everyone should know it by inquiries put before a bona fide spiritual master expert in the science of Bhakti Yoga, or from a living personality of Bhagavatam life. Everyone is engaged in various kinds of scriptural inquiries, but the Srimad Bhagavatam gives answers to all the various students of self-realization. This ultimate objective of life is not to be searched out without great labor or perseverance. One who is imbued with such sincere inquiries must ask the bona fide spiritual master in the disciplic succession from Brahmaji, and that is the direction given here. Because the mystery was disclosed before Brahmaji by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the mystery of all such inquiries regarding self realization must be put before such a spiritual master, who is directly the representative of the Lord, acknowledged in that disciplic succession.
We'll hold it there, bro.
Okay, sure.
Sorry, bro. Yeah, it's a long verse, long paragraph. So we'll hold it there so that we don't miss points here. So now here, Srila Prabhupada begins in the second paragraph by saying the Vedanta Sutra philosophy begins with this inquiry about life, which means which I already explained, Atato Brahma Jigyasha. That is where it begins. That you have gotten human body, we have to inquire about the absolute truth. That is the beginning. And then he says, and the Bhagavatam answers such inquiries up to this point. That you can make the inquiry, you can read through all the scriptures of the Vedas and everything and find answers to it. But if you want to find the ultimate answer or the ultimate objective answer, you have to come to Bhagavatam. And so Vyasadeva, when he had compiled all the Vedas, he felt dissatisfied. And when Narada Muni came, Narada Muni asked, what is the cause of your despondency? And he said, after even compiling all of them, I do not feel satisfied. Why? Because the ultimate has not been satisfied. Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. So the descriptions of Hari and his devotees was required, and so Srimad Bhagavatam came into existence. And so this understanding and realization Srimad Bhagavatam is the answer for all the inquiries. Here he says, Srila Prabhupada says, very carefully observe, the Vedanta Sutra philosophy begins with this inquiry about life, which means that is where it begins. It is not the end. In the Vedanta Sutra, you can begin and go on searching for it. And the Bhagavatam answers such inquiries up to this point, which means the answer is actually sitting in Bhagavatam. Okay? And then he says, what are the answers for? It says, this point is the mystery of all inquiries. That is, it gives answer to the mystery of all inquiries. Where did I come from? Why am I in this body? Why am I suffering? Where will I go? What will happen to me if I do this? What will happen to me if I do that? But if I do bhakti, what will happen? Every question is answered. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is the answer for all questions. In fact, Srila Prabhupada has one chapter. Bhagavatam is the answer for all questions in the Srimad Bhagavatam itself. And so Vyasadeva also concludes right in the second verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where he says, Dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedhyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavate, that this Srimad Bhagavatam Mahamuni Krite, that has been given by this great Mahamuni Vyasadeva, Kimva aparaihi, what is the necessity for anything else? Which means there is no necessity for any other scripture to go and find answer. This one book is enough for you to find answers. Don't go and search here and there. Just this one book, excuse me. Just this one book is enough for you to find answers. And what is the assurance? He says, Sadhyo hridi avaruddhate. That is, by finding the answer to this book, Sadhyo hridi avaruddhate atra kritibihi susrushubhi takshanat, that in one kshana, very quickly, the Supreme Lord will come and sit in your heart. Vedyam vastavamatra vastu. You can invite the Lord and make him sit or arrest him in your heart. Taragrihe Madiye, our Leela Shuka or Vilvamangala Thakur is singing in the Chaurashtakam, that, oh Krishna, I have bound you by my love and put you in my heart, and I have locked the doors of it. Now I will see where you will escape. You cannot go anywhere. Our Vilvamangala Thakur is saying. So like that, Krishna can be arrested within our heart. Right? And Krishna will not go. To that extent, which means The Supreme Lord, who is completely independent, can be controlled, and by his own will, for the pure devotion and love of the devotee, becomes dependent on the devotee. And so he says this is the ultimate objective, right? And so, Lord Brahma wanted to be perfectly educated by the personality of Godhead, and here is the answer by the Lord, finished in 4 nutshell verses from Ahameva to this verse Etavadeva, which means the Chatusloki Bhagavat, or the 4 essence verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which means the answer is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam because the answer was given by the Supreme Lord himself, right? The Supreme Lord himself gives the answer as to how one can self-realize and come to him. So why do we have to go and find answers somewhere else? That is the point. This is the end of all self-realization processes. That's it. There is no more else that you have to go. Men do not know that. Why? Prahlad Maharaj says, Nate viduhu swartagatim hi Vishnum. People do not know that the ultimate goal is this, that Vishnu is the ultimate goal or Krishna is the ultimate goal. They do not know. Why? He says, Durashaya Bahirarthamanina, because their interests are not in this. So what is our learning from that? Our learning is that if we are, that's what Srila Prabhupada says here, if we are really serious about wanting to inquire about it, then we will come to this point. Otherwise, we will not come to this point, he says in the purport. That is also the same thing that Vyasadeva himself says. He says, Atra kritivihi susrukshuvihi takshanat. If you want that Lord to be arrested within your heart, he does not get arrested to any, Tom, Dick and Harry. Right? He gets arrested only to the person who is kritivihi and susrukshuvihi. One who is very curiously inquiring and one who is very seriously dedicated. These 2 qualities are important. Kritibihi susrushubihi. Then takshanat, immediately then the Lord will come. Otherwise, he will not get himself, to anyone else. So, which means what? He will not just for the casual, listener. Srimad Bhagavatam has to be listened with sheer attention, complete attention that there is nothing else in my life other than this. If one dedicates his life into hearing, Kapila Muni explains very beautifully in the 3rd canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where he says that Satam prasangan mamavirya sangvido bhavanti hritkarna rasayana kata, that real association with a sadhu, satam. What is the real association with a sadhu? Real association with sadhu is not simply going and taking a selfie picture with sadhu. Maharaj, I want to take one picture with you, I will take, and then put it in our thing. That is okay. That is also good. Our acharyas say, Darshane pavitra koro eito margun. That simply having a darshan of a great acharya or a guru itself is a great thing. He is very fortunate. Then our Gauranga Prabhu is explaining in last Sunday class. What is saying? What is more fortunate? He said, more fortunate is associating with the sadhu guru and then hearing from him and chanting along with him. That is more fortunate. If you can hear from him. So, satam prasangan mamavirya sangvido. That is, they have to discuss the topics of the glories of the Supreme Lord. That is important. As real association means to discuss the topics. Bodhayantaha parasparam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. That is the real. That is also Chatusloki from our Bhagavad Gita. Right? There, Krishna says very clearly that real association means is to hear from the sadhu. That is the real association, not simply anything else. One has to hear Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. That is the real thing. That is more fortunate. Who is most fortunate? So we saw fortunate means to have association of a sadhu. More fortunate means to hear and chant with the sadhu. Most fortunate, who is the most fortunate? The most fortunate is the one who can continuously do that. Satatam kirtayantoma. Right? He has to constantly hear from a sadhu guru. And he has to, chant, which means he has to hear and he has to go and preach both. If he does that, then that is real association. So one has to associate one has to associate with that kind of a personality, sadhu. But if we go and simply associate with other people who do not have proper understanding of that goal, what does Krishna say? Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshantite jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. He is the person who has seen the ultimate truth, who has known, which if he has seen the ultimate truth, he should have known the ultimate truth, right? Satyam param dhimahi. He should have understood that. Otherwise, how he knows he has seen the ultimate truth? Correct? So, which means we have to approach that kind of a sadhu guru or a sadhu. But here he says, men do not know that the ultimate goal of life is Vishnu. Na te viduhu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. These people do not know that the ultimate goal of life is Vishnu. Don't go and approach those people, he says. So simply don't go and approach some YouTube. Somebody, I want to find an answer, go and find in YouTube. No, don't find in YouTube. Find you in Srimad Bhagavatam. The answer is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. You should search for that. That is what he says. Yeah. Why those people cannot guide you? Because Durashaya Bahirartha Manina, because their interests are not in Krishna, their interests are somewhere else. Bahirartha Manina, they are interested in something else. But they are posing themselves as some kind of a guru and they are trying to give you so much knowledge. But they know that they themselves will not find the ultimate goal and you will also not be able to find the ultimate goal. So they are andha, they are blind. Yata andaihi, they are trying to also guide you into blindness. Or you are also blind to take their blind guidance. You can understand like that also. Andha yatandaihi upaniyamanaha. You are trying to take guidance from them. But whereas where should you take guidance from? From a tattvadarshi. Other than taking a guidance from a tattvadarshinaha, you are taking guidance from a blind man who himself does not know the route. You want to go to a destination, you are asking someone, can I go there? But this fellow has not even gone there, he has not even seen the place, he doesn't even know where that place is. Can he give guidance? He cannot. Te api ishatantriyam urudhamni badhya. Prahlad Maharaj says that if you take his guidance, what will happen is both of you will become bound and go to the darkest regions of hell. So don't take anybody's guidance. Or in other words, he says, if you take the guidance of a blind man, both of you will fall in the ditch. Right? That is not our goal. Our goal is to rise up from there and walk up to the ultimate goal of life. Right? So here he says, the whole material existence has sprung up because of sense gratification. Like that blind man who is involved in Bahirartha, which is sense gratification. What is that sense gratification? Desires based principally on the sex desire. That is the prime goal of material existence. Everything, all other desires are all simple. I want to buy a car, I want to buy a house, I want to be a rich man, I want to be a famous man, I want to be a beautiful man. All of this is what? Simply to impress the opposite sex. That's all. Whether it is man or woman, it doesn't matter. The goal of all material opulence is only to simply impress the opposite sex. And so here Srila Prabhupada concludes saying, desires based principally on the sex desire. And the result is that in spite of all advancement of knowledge, the final goal of all the activities of living entities is sense gratification. Bahirarthamanina. But here is the real goal of life, and everyone should know it by inquiries put before a bona fide spiritual master. Go to a Tattva Darshana, Sadhu Guru. Don't go to anybody. Go to a bona fide spiritual master. Why? Because he is expert in the science of Bhakti Yoga. Or from a living personality of Bhagavatam. Everyone is engaged in various kinds of spiritual inquiries, but the Srimad Bhagavatam gives answers to all of the various students of self-realization. Whether one is a Jnana Yogi, Raja Yogi, Dhyana Yogi, or an Ashtanga Yogi, or whatever, they can all find answers in the Srimad Bhagavatam and get to the ultimate destination. This ultimate objective of life is not to be searched out without great labor or perseverance, which means don't think that it is easy. It is simple, but it is not easy. There is a difference. What is the simplicity? The answer is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the simplicity, which means you don't have to go here and there. You don't have to go to 10 different schools and try and understand. No. One book, one school. The school of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the book of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam Amalam Puranam Pramanaha. This is the Praman, Mahaprabhu says. So the answer is Srimad Bhagavatam. So, thinking that, oh, it is very simple if we take it very lightly. No, it will not take us to the goal. We have to have a sense of urgency. Oh, now I have gotten this Srimad Bhagavatam. Now I have to take this Bhagavatam as my life and soul. So once Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj was explaining to his disciples, and then the brahmacharis were saying that, we do not want to, if we get married, we want to stay brahmacharis. If we get married, we will not be able to focus on Srimad Bhagavatam and study Srimad Bhagavatam and live Srimad Bhagavatam. And then Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj said, you should get married. Disciples are thinking, why is my guru asking me to get married? They should say we should stay brahmacharis. They were all with a blank face in the Bhagavatam class. And then Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj said, you should get married to Srimad Bhagavatam. I did not say you should get married to, the opposite. Whether you're a boy or a girl, you should get married to Srimad Bhagavatam. If you get married, if you make partnership with Srimad Bhagavatam, then you can not find any difficulty. You can find all answers to your difficulty. So that is the point. So the point is that one who is imbued with such sincere inquiries must ask the bona fide spiritual master in his disciplic succession from Brahmaji, and that is the direction given here. Sincere inquiries. How sincere? Again, Krishna says, Tat Viddhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya. Pranipatena means to completely surrender to the Guru. How one should surrender to the Guru? Prakrishta Rupena Nipataha Pranipatena. That means what? It means that one has to surrender by body, mind, and words. Body means what? Sevaya. Words means what? Listening to the words of the spiritual master and not back talking, which means do not question the spiritual master's instruction. Understand that and have faith that whatever he is speaking, you know that he is bona fide. Understand that. But that does not mean immediately one can say, no, Prabhu, it's okay. If you should not speak, then what am I supposed to do? Then why is saying pariprashna? No. On the same lines, you ask questions to clarify. Nothing wrong with that. What he is saying, you do not have the capacity to understand, then you ask question, he will clarify. We should not go and ask spiritual master, oh, when will my daughter get married? When will I get my job? How long will I be in Dubai? Should I be in Dubai or should I be in India? These are not the questions to ask for a spiritual master. The spiritual master should be asked pariprashna, means intelligent, inquisitive, serious questions about Krishna, how about Bhakti Yoga, how to get to that ultimate objective. Okay. And then upadekshantite jnanam, then he will give. But when he will give, sevaya. You have to first serve him. Why? Does he want your service? No, he does not want your service. Then why should we serve? When we are serving, he will observe. When we are working with other devotees, whether we are working in cooperation or not, in collaboration or not with the same goal, or do we have any independent goal? So he will try to understand our intent. Our intent, whether it is very serious intent, that I also have the same goal. I don't have an independent goal. Why? Because all of our goal is only one goal, that is Krishna. And when we understand that one goal is Krishna, which means then we will cooperate, and we will collaborate. Right? When he sees that there is the sense of intent of cooperation and agreement on the ultimate common goal, then he will give upadekshantite jnana. He will give knowledge, the ultimate knowledge. Then your progress will be very fast. So that is what it says. One who is imbued with such sincere inquiries, which means he does not have any other agenda within himself. His inquiry is very sincere. He wants the same goal, tattva. Satyam param, he wants to understand. Must ask the bona fide spiritual master in the disciplic succession from Brahmaji, and that is the direction given here. Because the mystery was disclosed before Brahmaji by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the mystery of all such inquiries regarding self-realization must be put before such a spiritual master who is directly the representative of the Lord, acknowledged in that disciplic succession. Such a bona fide spiritual master is able to clear up the whole thing by evidence from the revealed scriptures. That spiritual master is not just speaking on his own. He will always quote. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada always quoted, not sometimes, always he quoted verses. We also quote. This is not to show our panditva. We have to always speak the scripture, what the scripture says, and quote from the scripture, not simply from our vagaries of mind. Right? There are so many people, if you go to YouTube, they all speak very nice English and present nice philosophy. It might seem very appealing from a language perspective and the presentation perspective. But we have to ask them the question, can you tell me which scripture are you speaking from? They might not have the answer for it. They will simply say it is from my experience. What is their experience? Their experience is always flawed because every living entity has 4 flaws: imperfect senses, committing mistakes, and so on and so forth. Cheating propensity. All of these mistakes are there. So what can his experience give us? It will only give us his point of view. But we do not want his point of view. We want the scriptural point of view. Now the question can come, why should I accept the scriptural point of view? Because the scripture was not given by a human being. It was given by the Supreme Lord, Apaurushaya. The Vedas were given by the Supreme Lord himself, not by a Purusha. Apaurushaya means somebody above Purusha, which means the Supreme Lord, which means the Vedas always existed. Here also we can see Krishna said, I directly gave this knowledge to Brahma, which means there is no contamination in between. Nobody else contaminated it. Sakaleneha mahata yoga nashta parantapa. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that when I see that there is a decline in the delivery of this knowledge, I myself come. And I give this knowledge. And I'm giving this knowledge which I've already given to Sun God, to his son and to his son. I'm now giving the same knowledge to you, my dear Arjuna. Why? Because you are Bhaktoshime Shakasheti, because you are my devotee and you're also my friend. What does friend mean? Oh, he is friend. I am not Krishna's friend. So he will not give to me. No, it's not like friend means in a friendly attitude. What does it mean? Not in an inimical attitude like Kamsa. Not in an inimical attitude like Hiranyakasipu. No. Bhaktoshime Shakasheti Rahasyam hi etaduttamam. So here he says, because the mystery was disclosed before Brahmaji by the Supreme, the mystery of all such who is directly the representative, acknowledged in that disciplic success. Such a bona fide spiritual master is able to clear up the whole thing by evidence from the revealed scriptures, both direct and indirect. Although everyone is free to consult. Oh, Prabhu, you want to read from here? I don't know where we stopped, but go ahead and read from here.
Shall I read?
Yes, you can.
Yes, Amit Prabhu, go ahead.
Although everyone is free to consult the revealed scriptures in this connection, one still requires the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, and that is the direction in this verse. The bona fide spiritual master is most confidential representative of the Lord, and one must receive direction from the spiritual master in the same spirit that Brahmaji received it from the personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna, the bona fide spiritual master in that bona fide chain of disciplic succession, never claims to be the Lord himself, although Such a spiritual master is greater than the Lord in the sense that he can deliver the Lord by his personally realized experience. The Lord is not to be found simply by education or by good fertile brain, but surely he can be found by the sincere student through the transparent medium of the bona fide spiritual master. The revealed.
We'll
Shall I
stop
stop?
there, bro. Yeah. So, although everyone is free to consult the revealed scripture in this connection, one still requires the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. Which means the Bhagavatam is there, just like if you want to become a doctor, the library books are there. You can read the books. Can you become a doctor? No, you need the guidance of a proper, direct guidance of a surgeon or whatever practice that we are making. In a similar way, we need the guidance of a spiritual master. Now, one person asked a question. Oh, we have the guidance of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada has written the purports. So when we read Prabhupada purports, is it okay to read the book alone and not go and listen to any other lecture? It is okay, but it is not the best. Why? Because even what Srila Prabhupada has written, you cannot understand. Because we do not have the frame of mind to understand everything. So we have to go to a realized devotee who can understand the mood of Srila Prabhupada as a devotee. And then one has to hear it in that same attitude. So that person, if he explains consuming this knowledge to us, then we will be able to understand it properly. Otherwise, we cannot understand. So the best way is to go and approach a devotee, a good standing devotee. Standing devotee means not standing. Standing devotee means one who is fixed in Krishna consciousness, who is practicing what Srila Prabhupada has instructed. He should be a walking Bhagavata, not just a philosophical Bhagavata, that he can speak nice philosophy, present nice philosophy, but in his practice, we don't know. So he has to be a walking Bhagavata. So the Lord is not to be found simply by education or by a good fertile brain. It has to be through the guidance of a spiritual master. Next.
I'll read, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
The revealed scriptures give directions directly to this end, but because the bewildered living entities are blinded by the glaring reflection in the darkness, they are unable to find the truth of the revealed scriptures. For example, in Bhagavad Gita, the whole direction is targeted towards the personality of the Godhead, Lord Krishna. But for want of bona fide spiritual master in the line of Brahmaji or the direct hearer, Arjuna, there are different distortions of the revealed knowledge by many unauthorized persons who just want to satisfy their own whims. Undoubtedly, the Bhagavad Gita is accepted as one of the most brilliant stars in the horizon of the spiritual sky, yet the interpretations of this great book of knowledge have so grossly been distorted that every student of Bhagavad Gita is still in the same darkness of glaring material reflections. Such students are hardly enlightened by the Bhagavad Gita. In the Gita, practically, the same instruction is imparted as in the four prime verses of the Bhagavatam, but due to wrong and fashionable interpretations by the unauthorized persons, one cannot teach the ultimate conclusion. One cannot teach the ultimate conclusion. Should I go further?
It's okay, bro. We can stop there. So here he says the revealed scriptures give. So why is it not okay to read from the scriptures and why one should approach a bona fide spiritual master? That question can come. Is there a flaw with the scripture? That question can come. So Srila Prabhupada is answering that question, saying that there is no flaw with the scripture. So he says the revealed scripture gives direction directly to this end, which means the answer is there in the scripture. But where is the problem? He says the problem is because the bewildered living entity are blinded by the glaring reflection in the darkness. It is in the glass that you are wearing where the problem is. You are not able to see it. But the information is there in the Bhagavatam and the scripture. So the scripture is capable of giving you the answer, but you are not capable of seeing it. So you need an aid by which you can see it. Who is the spiritual master? And that's why in the previous paragraph, he says, he is the transparent medium of the bona fide spiritual life. He is the medium through which you can see the Shastra or Shastra Chakshu. Chakshudan tiloje janme janme prabhu se divya gyan hriday prakashito. That he gives you the eyes by which you can see the scripture. Who? The bona fide spiritual master. Otherwise, we do not have the eyes to see the scriptures in that perspective. Okay. So, like how Krishna himself came and gave it to Brahmaji, he gave it to Arjuna, and like that. So, undoubtedly, Bhagavad Gita is accepted as the one of the brilliant stars. So, Bhagavad Gita. In the Gita, practically same instruction is imparted as in the four prime verses, which means there is no difference between the Bhagavad Gita. We saw the Chatusloki in the Bhagavad Gita. We saw the Chatusloki in the Bhagavatam. They are conveying the same meaning. The first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam conveys the same meaning, which means the goal is not different, it is not distorted, it is not convoluted, it is all the same. The same goal is being talked about in various ways, that's all. So in the Bhagavad Gita 18.6.61, it is clearly said, Ishvara sarva bhutanam hrideshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra arudani maya. The Lord is situated in the heart of all living beings as Paramatma, and he is controlling all of them in the material world under the agents of his external energy. Yantra arudani maya, through the agency of maya, he puts everybody, all the bhutani, sarva bhutani, who are Brahmayan, who are wandering everywhere, into yantras, which means bodies. Arudani means he forcibly makes them sit there through Maya, or Maya makes them sit there. And what is Krishna doing? He is also entering into their heart and guiding them. So you cannot blame him, saying that, why did you make me suffer? You only chose that. Okay, so we cannot blame him. Therefore, it is clearly mentioned that the Lord is the supreme controller and the living entities are controlled by the Lord. In the same Bhagavad Gita 1865, the Lord directs as follows: Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam eveshasi satyam te pratijane priyoshime. Which means he puts us in a body and then he also tells us what to do, but we don't choose to do what to do that. He says, Manmana bhava madbhakto, think of me, become a devotee, worship me, offer obeisances to me, understand me, because you are my dear person. He says, it is clear from this verse of the Bhagavad that the direction of the Lord is that one should be God-minded, a devotee of the Lord, a worshipper of the Lord, a must offer all obeisances unto the Lord. By so doing, the devotee will undoubtedly go back to Godhead, back to home. So he also gives us the guidance. All right. Subal Prabhu, it is 11:17. Two things we can do. I can move forward and still not be able to finish this because it's a very long purport.
Yeah.
The other thing that we can do is we can stop here and see if there are any questions. What would you prefer?
Prabhu, just to understand, I think at least 30-35% we would have covered, right?
Yes.
So is there any chance that you can take the lecture next week also and cover the remaining? Are you
We
available?
can do that. We can do that. What day is it?
Again, 21st December, Saturday.
21st December. I'm not sure. I don't think anything. I will confirm to you immediately after. But even otherwise, you can continue with the next sloka with the next speaker. And then, the following week, we can go back to this verse and try and understand. That is also fine with me.
Okay. Would love to have you again so that the continuity can be maintained. But we
I'm
will.
not sure if I agreed for a program somewhere around that date. I have to see where I have to look into my WhatsApps.
No
But
worries.
if it is not there, then definitely next week we can continue, bro.
Sure, sure. So I was thinking if that is the case, then we can take a break here and just take question answers then.
Yeah, I will do that.
Fine. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Anybody has any questions?
Yeah, I had just one query. We every time know that, even like in the last paragraph, we read that we are born here and we are told to worship the God and all those. But if from the young age or when we are born, the young child might not have any of those materialistic feelings, right? So how
Inclinations,
does
yeah.
that inclination? So how does that get imbibed? So somebody is forcing us and somebody is directing us, right? At that time, it is our parents
Yes.
or anything. So without the will of the person, the whole changes happen. So how can
Yes.
that be controlled?
Krishna says, Karanam gunasangasya sad asad janma yonishu. All is this because of association, he says. We are struggling in this material world without guidance and we are going here and there is because we do not have proper association. Guna sangasya, which means you can take it in two ways, which means because of association with the three modes of nature or associating with people who are in the three modes of nature. I'll give you an example. When the living entity is in the womb of the mother, he goes through, this is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto. He goes through extreme pain, and the pain is also explained. It says that if 1,000 scorpions sting at the same time, what is the pain that somebody will experience? To that extent, the child is going through the pain inside the womb of the mother. Literally thousands of worms biting him and so on and so forth, like that. And that time, the child is praying to the Lord, I do not want to go through this pain. I do not want another birth again. You give me one chance, I will come out and I will become your devotee and I will serve you. That is the prayer that the jiva makes. And as soon as we are born, we forget that. Why? Because we do not have guidance. So who is the person to guide? It is the responsibility of the parents to guide.
Parents.
Okay, so in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu says, Mata na sasyat, pita na sasyat, guru na sasyat. Do not become a mother, do not become a father, do not become a guru if you cannot guide them in the right direction. Which means if you want to give birth to children, you should know first of all what is the direction, you should guide the children in that direction. Okay, Prabhu, that is all gone. Now what do I do? Now I am here where I am. What should I do now?
Yeah, that is exactly.
Oh, better now than never. Right? Better now than never. So he says, ideal would be, Prahlad Maharaj says, Kaumaram Acharet Prajna. When one is a Kumara, when one is small, young, at that time itself he has to start. But well, Prabhupada says, best use of the bad bargain. At least bad bargain is that so many years you did not get the chance. Now you have gotten the chance. At least are you taking it up seriously now? That is the question. If you take it up seriously now, then you are showing your seriousness. One is to regret, oh, I was not able to do this all these years from my childhood. But the other thing is, okay, now you have gotten it, what are you doing with it now? That is the question. So if we take it up now, then at least our next life is assured. Neha Vikrama Nashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Krishna says that even if you have performed a little dharma, which is hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, doing some service to devotees, to service to Krishna, worshipping Krishna, and all of these things, if we do it, at least next life is assured. Right? Next life is assured that we will again get a human form of life. What if we don't even get a human form of life in the next life? So assure that by practicing some Krishna consciousness. We are thinking next week we can cover the remaining part of the purport. What if I am not there? Of course, somebody else will cover. But we are thinking, oh, if not this week, next week. But what if next week is not there? That is Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means not thinking about tomorrow, thinking about today what we can do for Krishna. This particular moment, what I can do for Krishna. That the present of the present is there. Present means gift. Present means now. The gift of now is there. How am I using now in Krishna's service? That defines our seriousness. That is why devotees do not waste time. Serious devotees, they do not waste any time. They will always be thinking, engaging. They might be doing anything. They will be going. Does not mean you should stop everything and sit in the banks of Yamuna and listen to Bhagavatam for 7 days. That is not what we need to do. If we can do that, it is good, but we cannot do that. We cannot sit. We will be very eager. This time vacation, I want to go to Vrindavan. After going to Vrindavan, you will think, when I will finish Vrindavan and go back to Dubai, because I'm feeling so cold. This food is not suiting me. There are so many mosquitoes. You will think about all of those things. From here, we are eager to go there. From there, we will want to come back here. So anyway, so the point is that uh, now that we have gotten this gift of Krishna consciousness, how are we taking it up? Then Krishna sees, oh, I gave him something, he has taken it up very seriously. I will give him one more opportunity. Again, if you take it up seriously, I will give him one more opportunity. Like that, he gives more and more opportunities, whether it is in this life or next life or life after life. Krishna will give more and more opportunity for us. How? He says, Suchinam Srimatam Gehe. I will make you be born in a convenient place, in a conducive environment. Right now, your environment was not conducive. Next time, I will make you born in the family of a devotee, so that you can begin devotional service right from day one. So you don't have to think about it. So Krishna assures that. That is the process.
Thank you.
Is it okay, Prabhu?
Thank you, Guruji.
A small observation. Say
Yes,
this for by watching these last 3 years Krishna Kirtan Rasa, one at least we people who have joined this consciousness so late, have we really realized that we have wasted all our life. And when we see that this time also, last time also, a 10-year or 12-year-old boy leading a gathering of 5,000 people and singing, matlab, we can never reach to that level. Matlab, that's what I observe. Because
I think the first step of self-realization is to understand that we have wasted our life.
yeah,
The moment we realize that, at least we know that what is waste and what is useful. Because most people don't even know what is waste and they're wasting their life. At least we are realizing I'm wasting our life itself is a great thing. So that is what we need to realize first. Shramayeva hi kevalam, he says, it's a waste of time. So we have to understand what is waste of time and what is use of time. That is what Srimad Bhagavatam says as the first step. As a first step, we should understand what is good use of time and what is bad use of time. And then it gives the answer also. He says, good use of time is the use of time by which one can get attraction to hearing Krishna Katha. That is, whenever Krishna Katha is there, I am very eager. When will next Saturday come? Or when will be my next opportunity to hear Srimad Bhagavatam? That curiousness, that eagerness, that attraction should be there for Krishna Katha. If it is there, then that is the first sign of good use of time. He says, just for you, when you're saying it, I can understand how eager are you with Kirtan Rasa, hearing it. Next time, when will it come? It's already 3 days over. When will it come? When will it come? We are so eager for it. That eagerness should be there.
Prabhu, the singer like Achyuta Gopi Mataji, sitting right from 11 o'clock till night, while we are only there for 2-3 hours and finding very comfortable places. Matlab, that shows how those people have way of how they have dedicated to this.
Yes, that is the taste. But that taste can be gotten by you, you and me also. If we simply desire, we can also get that taste. That taste will come.
नहीं आपको तो मिल ही गया प्रभु हम लोग को पता नहीं क्या होने
We are all thinking we have got taste, but the test is, how long we are able to, like you said, sitting from morning till evening and getting that taste is what defines whether we are able to really sustain it. That is important. Let us say if I'm going to say, I want to continue the remaining part of the purport and finish it today itself, it will take another 4-5 hours. Can we all stay together? Prabhu, next week, next week.
certainly
Yeah, why? Because we have other priorities in life. But when our priorities become aligned with the ultimate priority of only wanting this, because those days, I was explaining about Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj. When he begins Bhagavatam class at 8 a.m. in the morning, sometimes he will go on till 12 o'clock. Until lunch, nobody asks any question. Usually, Bhagavatam class is 8 to 9 o'clock. After 9 o'clock, you have to stop literally, even if you have not finished, so that everybody can go for prasadam. But sometimes he will go on till 12 o'clock. Sometimes he will go on till 5 o'clock in the evening. I remember when I was very young, in Chennai, there was one Tirtha Maharaj, Bhakti Swarup Tirtha Maharaj. He started Bhagavatam class at 8 o'clock and finished at 5 p.m. 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Nobody dared ask any question. Everybody was sitting there and just listening. Some people were leaning this way, that way, standing up, do all of those things. He didn't care. He was just going on and on for until 5 p.m. like that. They have taste. We don't have taste. We have to develop. Little by little, we'll develop it. By constant hearing, we will develop the taste. Thank you, Prabhu, for your observation. Hare Krishna. Any other question?
Prabhu, um, you mentioned bhakti yoga, right, can be done to the Bhagwan only, right? There are
Hmm.
people who are like devotees of Shiva also.
Hmm.
And according to them, Shiva is supreme. So that could be the reason why they feel meaning they desire to be devoted to him. How,
Hmm.
in a layman's language, not using the regular Krishna conscious technical terms, in a
Hmm.
layman's language, how do we explain to them that
Hmm.
devotion or meaning any dedication towards Lord Shiva cannot be considered classified as bhakti in a technical manner, and why devotion to Lord Krishna is only bhakti?
Well, we have to understand what is Shiva doing, right? If they are very serious about it, then they should ask, what is Shiva doing? Shiva is also worshipping Krishna, right? He is also engaged in the discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam all the time, right? His wife, Mother Parvati, is asking question about Srimad Bhagavatam, and Shiva is answering the question for about, he explained the entire 12 cantos of Bhagavatam. You know that story, right? Of how Bhuvaneshwar, the Lingeshwar Mahadev temple came.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So he always is in the discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam. And we saw that when Chitraketu was going also, he was discussing with Srimad Bhagavatam with everyone. So he is always saying, so if he is the Supreme Lord, what is he discussing about? Who is he discussing about? So if they're serious, they have to try and understand. That then if they try and go deep, there's nothing wrong with worshipping Lord Shiva. But how you worship Lord Shiva is important. If you worship Lord Shiva, understanding that he is also worshipping the Supreme Lord, and accordingly worship Lord Shiva, there is nothing wrong with that. We also worship Lord Shiva. If you go to Sridham Mayapur in Simanta Dweep in Jagannath temple, our Rajapur Jagannath temple, there is the form of Simanta Devi and Lord Shiva there. And then there is Mahaprabhu there. Where we worship, we understand they are devotees. And if you worship, if you understand Ganesha, what is his position, and worship Ganesha, that he is the one who wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Mahabharata, so then you can understand, he is a devotee. So how you worship them is more important. Nothing wrong in worshipping them. In Sri Vrindavan Dham, Chakleshwar Mahadev was worshipped, right? All forms of Mahadev are there in Sri Vrindavan. If you go to Jagannath Puri, without worshipping Lingeshwar Mahadev in Bhuvaneshwar, one is not expected to even enter inside Puri. So that is the importance of Lord Shiva. Nobody can understand the importance of Lord Shiva better than our Sampradaya. Because we know in reality how he wants to be understood.
Correct.
You should understand someone the way that he wants you to understand, not the way that others think they should be understanding him. This is the way that Lord Shiva likes to be identified. See, you can give introduction of someone, but is it better if you ask, Prabhu, how should I introduce you? Can you give me some points so that I can introduce you that way? That will be better, right?
Correct.
Because the person will know better than you or somebody else. Like that, we should understand Shiva in the mood that he wants to be understood. That is real bhakti. That is real devotion. So how Shiva wants to be understood is Vaishnavanam Yatashambho. He is the ultimate devotee. That is how he wants to be understood. So try and understand. So like that, one Shiva Bhakta asked the same question. He was a great devotee in Kashi. He was worshipping Kashi Vishwanath, and then one day he came to Sri Vrindavan Dham and he asked Chakleshwar Mahadev, "Oh, my dear Lord, I want you to give me benediction. I am suffering in life. I have been constantly devoted in my entire life serving you. I want benediction from you. I want the ultimate benediction from you. Because I want to settle everything in my life. I want to dedicate my entire life to you. I have a daughter. I want to get married. I want her to get married. I want to dedicate my entire life, but there are some responsibilities that I have because of which I am not able to come." He asked Lord Shiva. And Chakleshwar Mahadev said, "I cannot give you that benediction. There is one sadhu, one Babaji who is sitting there. You go and talk to that Babaji. He has the benediction that you are asking for." Who was that? That was Sanatan Goswami.
Yeah.
So Sanatan Goswami was sitting in the banks of Yamuna and he was worshipping, and then he went to, "Oh, okay." Then he asked him, Sanatan Goswami asked him, "What did you come for?" "I came here for, asking, my Lord said that you have the greatest benediction." "Okay, what do you want?" "Okay, there is a garbage there. You can find that whatever you want, the benediction, you can take it." What was there in the garbage? There was a touchstone, Chintamani. Whatever you touch with that, it becomes gold. So all your answers will be solved now. You want to settle your daughter, you want to settle family, you want to settle everything. That is what you want to do now. Okay, take this touchstone, it will give you answer for everything. Chintamani, whatever is your chinta, it will fulfill your desire. Then he took happily the stone, he went and he fulfilled all the desires, but he still did not find satisfaction. He got everything fulfilled, but there was no satisfaction. And then he came back and said, "Oh, he had a stone sitting in the garbage, and that is giving me so much, which means he has something better than this. That is what I want." Because if it is better than that, he would have preserved it very carefully in the almirah or somewhere. Why is he keeping it in the garbage? So he went back to Sanatana Goswami and he's asking, "Oh, my dear Babaji, thank you for giving everything I've settled, but I'm sure you have something great, because what I want is nothing but the ultimate benediction." Then Sanatana Goswami asked him, "Are you sure you want the ultimate benediction?" He says, yes, I want the ultimate benediction only, because he was hoping that he will get something better than Chintamani. Then Sanatana Goswami told him, "Now you do one thing. Do you have that thing that I gave you?" "Yes, I have." "First throw that and then come," he said. He was hesitating for one moment. "Oh, if I throw this, what will happen if I don't get anything? And what if it is not better?" Then he said, "If you want it, you have to throw it." Then he went and threw it. I'm sure anyway it was sitting in the garbage. Now I'm throwing it. I'm sure he will give. I don't think he looks like a greedy person. He will give. So he said, "Now you chant." Then he sat down and gave him Nama Chintamani Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Abhinnatvan Nama Namino. That is, he gave the greatest benediction of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. That Sushil Kumar Prabhu was just saying. Just sitting in Kirtan Rasa, the Rasa of Krishna's name he gave, and he says that this is the real Chintamani, this is the real desire fulfilling medicine. Nama Namino, there is no difference between Krishna and this Nama, this name. And one who can see that can get the greatest benediction from it. So where did Lord Shiva guide him? Lord Shiva guide him to the Krishna, to the ultimate chanting of the holy name. If they understand that and worship, then Shiva will also guide them properly. But if they understand Shiva as the one who gives Asutosh, who's Asutosha and gives benediction, then they become Bhasmasura and try to keep their hand right on the head of Shiva itself. That you have to tell them. So what kind of bhakti you want to do? You want to do the bhakti where you want to destroy the person who gave you bhakti, or you want to do bhakti by which you want to ultimately attain the goal? That is the choice. So you can tell them that. You have the Bhasmasur devotee who is also so-called Bhakta, but you have this devotee from Kasi Vishwanath who wanted to get the ultimate benediction, and Lord Shiva guided him to the ultimate benediction. You choose which Bhakta you want to be and leave the choice to them, because they will choose what they want. Just by us saying, they will not take it up. Give the choice to them. Krishna also gave everything and he said, Yata ichasi tata kuro. To Arjuna, I have given everything that I want to give. Now you choose what you want to do. And then Arjuna says, Karishye vachanam tava. I will do whatever you say, my dear Lord. Like that.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
bro.
Thank you so much.
Hare,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I don't.
Mataji, Sumati Mataji, I think, had a question she wants to ask. Is it too
No,
late?
Prabhuji,
What
same,
time is
same
it?
thing. What Suval Prabhuji asked, same about Shivaji only. Hare Krishna.
Shiva
Good.
Tattva is a separate topic, Prabhu. It's not a very easy thing to understand Lord Shiva's position. Earlier once, I think in Sindhi Hall or somewhere, not Sindhi Hall, somewhere I spoke about the Shiva Tattva or maybe in one of the online classes. Shiva's position is the highest position that one cannot understand. There is a conversation of Lord Shiva with Narada Muni in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, where Lord Shiva is lamenting to Narada Muni, saying that how wonderful you are, Narada. In a very humble state of mind, you have so much access to the Supreme Lord. When will I be able to, get the favor of the Supreme Lord? He's hankering for Krishna's service with Narada Muni. And then Narada Muni is telling him, you have already gotten the favor. You are the one who has gotten the favor because I am the one only participating in the favor, but you are the one who's actioning the favor, he says. What does it mean? It means that the most difficult of the work he has given to you only. What is the difficult of the work? Destruction. Nobody wants to do destruction. Who wants to do destruction? That he has given to you. To deal with the demons and the pisachas and the pretas, who can do? Nobody can go and give them. If I send you to prison preaching, and if I send you to some college preaching, which one will you choose?
College preaching.
Yeah, prison preaching is tough. But here, Shiva is taking up the worst level of preaching. So, who will be given that kind of work? Only the most confidential servant, the confident servant, the confidente, as they say, that person will be given. So, you are the most confidential servant of Krishna. That is why he has chosen you to these tasks. So, you are Vaishnavanam Yatasambho, Narada Muni says. This is the understanding. So, Lord Shiva Tattva is not very easy to understand. He is the greatest of the great. If one can properly worship Lord Shiva, as in Gopeshwar Mahadev, Chakleshwar Mahadev, then they can get Krishna very easily. So go and worship Lord Shiva, you should tell them. You worship only Shiva, you don't worship Krishna because he will give you. Only Vaishnavan can give you Krishna. Krishna cannot give you Krishna himself. So you should actually tell them worship Shiva, but properly worship Shiva. Instead of telling them not to worship Shiva and worship Krishna. Understand the mood and worship Shiva, then that is good for you. Don't worship Shiva like Bhasmasur, but worship Shiva like a proper devotee. Then you will get Krishna. Or whatever Shiva wants to give, he will give. And what will Shiva give? He will not give anything other than Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai.
11:42. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Thank you very much,
Krishna
Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much.
Prabhuji. Thank you.
Please
Thank
try
you, Prabhu.
make yourself available for the next week. That will be very
Thank you,
nice.
Prabhuji.
If I have not already committed anywhere, definitely I will be trying to make it, Prabhu. No things. I love to speak Bhagavatam. It doesn't matter wherever, whatever, we can be of service to Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
I'll let
Panchakalpatarubhyasya kripasindhubhya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo.
Thank you, Namo.
Ananta
अनंत
Prabhu.
कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय.
Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for the wonderful class.
Thank you, Prabhu, Amit Prabhu,
Thank you so much,
Rao
Prabhuji.
Prabhu, Uday Prabhu, Sumati Mataji.